Hi there, I'm Jenna, and this channel is Learn Academic English. On this channel, I help English learners like you who want to take their language to a higher level, especially for school and work. In today's video, I'm going to teach you 8 word stress rules. These are the 8 most important word stress rules that you need to improve your pronunciation. Now, in English pronunciation, there are many things that you can learn and improve. There are vowel sounds and consonant sounds and intonation, but word stress is probably the most important component. The reason for that is that we recognize words by the word stress. Sometimes you can even pronounce the word with the wrong sounds, but if the word stress is correct, we can still recognize what word you're saying. In addition, using correct word stress will give your English a more natural rhythm that is really nice to listen to. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you the 8 most important word stress rules. There are more, but make sure that you learn these 8 first, and then after you feel comfortable, you can add more word stress rules to your English knowledge. Before we get into those rules, I'd like to remind you to please give this video a like, leave a comment, and let me know which of these rules were new for you, and subscribe if you want more lessons like this one. Keep in mind that I'm an experienced, trained English teacher with more than 25 years of teaching experience. So I have a lot of knowledge that I can share with you. And if you'd like to take classes with me, I have an online course that I teach with 4 other amazing teachers. You can check the description box below for information about that course. Okay, let's get into those 8 important word stress rules. Let's look at 8 common word stress rules in English. And remember that when we're talking about word stress, you're going to think about which syllable is stressed. So in the first rule, we're going to talk about nouns with 2 syllables. There are many nouns with 2 syllables, and most of the time, this rule applies. I think it's about 70% of the time, maybe 80%. Stress is going to be on the first syllable. For example, in the word student. Now notice that I'm writing it with the accent mark over the U, but of course we never write it like that. This is just to show you where the word stress is, okay? So student. The second syllable is not stressed, and that means that instead of saying student with a clear S sound, we're going to reduce that vowel. Student. Student. Input, reason, concept. Okay? So if you encounter a noun with 2 syllables and you're not sure how to pronounce it, you can guess that probably the word stress is on the first syllable. Okay? Concept. Next, let's look at verbs with 2 syllables. Now, with verbs with 2 syllables, the rule is the opposite. Usually the stress is on the second syllable. For example, approach, begin, review, contain. Now, be careful because there are exceptions, and here's a common one, finish. Okay, so this doesn't apply 100% of the time, but usually if you encounter a verb with 2 syllables, the stress is going to be on the second syllable. Okay, let's go to the next rule, which is about compound nouns. Compound nouns are words like homework, where we take 2 words and we put them together to make a noun, okay? And compound nouns have stress on the first syllable. And this is actually important because if we have a word like greenhouse, which is a kind of glass house where you can grow plants, if we pronounce that word with stress on both syllables, then we're talking about a house that is green, a greenhouse. But if we're talking about the compound noun, which is a glass house where we can grow plants, then it's a compound noun, so the stress is on the first syllable, greenhouse. Okay, So stress for compound nouns is important, and we have so many compound nouns in English that if you can learn this rule, it's going to help your English to sound more natural, okay? Let's look at some examples. Homework, bedroom, bedroom, green card. It's not a green card, it's a green card. A green card is a residency card to live in the United States. High school, job interview, job interview. All right, let's go to the next part, and this is about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are verbs like take off, where we have a word, it's usually a preposition that comes after the verb, and it changes the meaning of the verb, right? So we know what take means, but take off means to leave. These phrasal verbs are tricky because we have to memorize the meaning of them. Now, with phrasal verbs, we actually stress the particle. The particle is the second word. It's usually a preposition. For example, take off. Now, you want to try to blend these words if you can. Take off. Stop by. Stop by. Hand in. Drop out. Okay? So when you learn phrasal verbs, try to remember that the stress goes on the second word. Now, when we're speaking, it's a little bit harder to hear it, but the important point is that instead of stressing the verb like we usually do, with a phrasal verb, we're going to give extra stress to this small word that is very important because it changes the meaning of the verb. All right, let's look at rule number 5, reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are pronouns like myself. For example, I am talking to myself. I cut myself. And these have stress on the second syllable. Myself, themselves, himself, herself, etc. All right, let's look at the next rule, which is about compound adverbs. Compound adverbs, like the one we just saw, reflexive pronouns, have stress on the second syllable. A compound adverb is a word like downtown, where we have two words that come together and they form an adverb. They show us where something is, okay? Downtown. She lives downtown. Where are you going? We're going downtown. Outside. Southwest. Upstairs. Now, is it hard for you to hear the stress? If it is, then try to do the stress the other way and see if it sounds strange, okay? So for example, with the word downtown, the correct stress is stress on the second syllable. If we say it the other way, it's going to sound like this: downtown, or outside, or upstairs. And those pronunciations don't sound natural. Instead, we should say downtown, outside, upstairs. Okay, let's go to the next rule. And this is about suffixes. Now, there are many suffixes in English. Suffixes are little parts of words that go at the end of a word. And there are many of them, but 4 very common ones are the suffixes shun, itty, ick, and ickle. And these are going to have stress on the syllable that comes before the suffix. For example, information. Here we have the suffix shun. Where's the stress? On the syllable before. Information. Information. Okay, let's look at these more carefully. So again, with the suffix shun, we're going to have stress on the syllable that comes before. Information, location, negotiation. There are many other examples, and you can let me know some of them in the comments below. All right, let's go to the next one, which is the suffix itty. This suffix makes nouns, and just like the other ones that we saw, we're going to have the stress on the syllable before the suffix. Velocity, velocity, okay? Velocity. Stupidity, stupidity. If it's hard for you to make the stress, try to practice doing it on different syllables until you get that rhythm, okay? So the correct one is stupidity. If you try saying it the other way, we could say stupidity or stupidity or stupidity. And you can start to hear which stress is correct. Personality. Make the stressed syllable a little bit longer, stronger, a little bit higher. Personality. Electricity. Electricity. Let's go to the next suffix, ik. Ik usually makes adjectives, and remember, just like itty and shun, we're going to look at the suffix and we're going to put the stress on the syllable before. Terrific. Terrific. Allergic. Allergic. He is allergic to cats. Fantastic. Economic. Economic. Notice in this word that because the stress is here, the O is going to be very clear. Economic. Economic. Okay, and the last suffix in this group is the suffix ical. This suffix also makes adjectives, and just like the others, we're going to find the suffix and we're going to put the stress on the syllable before. Historical. Magical. Electrical. So the last rule that we're going to look at is also about suffixes, but the rule is different. We're going to see the suffixes ear, ease, and eek. And these suffixes often are on words that originally came from French. The stress is going to be on the suffix. So in these words, you're going to put stress on the last syllable. Employee, matinee, nominee. Okay, a nominee is like, for example, Donald Trump is the nominee for the Republican Party. He was nominated. Matinee is the first showing at a theater of the day or an early showing. So if you want to go to a movie, you can go to a matinee. That's going to be an early showing during the day, and it's usually cheaper. The next one is volunteer, pioneer, engineer. So let's practice saying it with different stress so that you can hear it. We don't say engineer. We don't say engineer. We say engineer. Engineer. Okay, next we have Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese. Vietnamese. Now notice in a long word like this that there are actually two stresses. So we're going to have a small stress earlier in the word. Listen, Vietnamese. Vietnamese. Okay? So there is a small stress on the first syllable. Don't worry about it. The important thing is that you get the big stress on this suffix at the end. And next we have technique, unique, antique. These sound like eek. Unique. I hope you enjoyed learning these rules. Let me know in the comments below which of these rules were new for you, and check the description box below for more information and more examples of these rules. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for much more content, and feel free to ask questions anytime. I hope to see you back here again very soon. Take care.